once he get the ball in his hands, it is pretty much over for the defense. Almost looks like he's playing a different game and is of a different breed than everybody out there. Welcome into another episode of the 75th Anniversary Browns Breakdowns, and in today's edition, we are going to take a look at the man who is considered by many to be the greatest professional football player of all time, Jim Brown. And joining us to go through some of these unbelievable, when you watch them, just really incredible highlights, Browns running back coach and NFL veteran, and a person who played the position at a high level in his own right, Stump Mitchell. And Coach, Jim Brown, when you hear the name, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Awesome. He could do it all.
He certainly could. And we're going to go through these highlights. And folks, I tell you, sometimes it's hard to believe. You've heard the stories, you've seen clips, but when you see it for minutes straight, it's just incredible how dominant Jim Brown was. And we're going to start with, look, he's a running back. What would you say, Coach, are the key traits to being a great running back in the NFL?
I would say Jim Brown had it all. You know, nowadays we like size. He had size. He was bigger than most of the guys on the defense. He had speed. He had vision. He broke tackles. He could do it all.
That's right. He's got that rare, probably the rarest combination we will ever see, especially given his time and his opponents. But these are skills, folks, that translate easily in today's NFL. He would be just fine. But you mentioned it. Power, speed, balance, vision, all of those things. And we're going to kick this off taking a look at just some of the raw power of Jim Brown. And you think running back, we're going to kick it off. We're going to throw a curveball at you. We're going to start with a pass catch here from Jim Brown, and then he does the rest, Coach.
Right here, you see his elusiveness. After catching the ball, making people miss, getting downfield. He got the ball in his outside arm, which you teach, and now it's just speed running away from a defensive back.
And he had that all, and he was a weapon, the likes of which maybe we will never see again. Just getting the ball into his hands. And you probably like some of these old school formations, that quick handoff there. And again, tackle him? Nope, not going to do it.
Absolutely. Outside run where they're pulling the guard. And now all he's doing is just trying to get to the outside. Defense think he's going outside. He cuts back in. He breaks a few tackles and take it to the house again.
And when you talk about that size, and you know what I've noticed watching these highlights, and I love, he ran more upright than you would talk about maybe today's NFL players. And some of the greats have done that, but it didn't matter because he didn't even need to get his pads low. He was just going to run right through you.
Right. I would say he and Eric Dickerson probably ran higher than any guys ever played the position. But here you see Jim use a spin move. There are no arm tackles with him. You can forget about that. Great stiff arm. He could do it all.
He certainly could. And again, we talked about running, but also a weapon. This is an old school screen. Look at the little setup here as Jim Brown slips out. And then, of course, once he get the ball in his hands, it is pretty much over for the defense.
The most important part about that screen is that Jim kept his distance away from the line of scrimmage. I teach these guys that right now, and we still have a problem getting too close to the line of scrimmage. His timing with his offensive linemen, you see they are out in front of him, and now he just does all the rest of the work.
And you talk about just the power. We talk about the speed as he's running away and just running through guys. Look at that. That's two guys, Coach, three guys, four guys. They can't get him down, and he's still going. When you see runs like this, and we see a lot with Nick Chubb where their defenders just left on the ground, but that's incredible.
Jim had many ways of breaking tackles. Here he used the spin move. These guys, they're bracing for him to run him over, dropping their heads, and now he used the spin move and use their body to keep his balance, and the rest is history. He takes it to the house.
He does. It seems how many of these highlights end with Jim Brown taking it to the house. We talked about his power, and we see him run through these tackles. You mentioned that. Now let's take a look at the speed, just the raw speed. And this is where you knew he was just a different class of athlete than many of the guys he was going against. No disrespect to them, but he looks like he's running in a completely different gear. He's going to outrun the angle right here.
Yes, I thought Walter Payton was the guy that carried the ball like Jim is carrying the ball. But I guess Walter watched some of Jim and took that one-handed firmness on the ball and put it in his game.
What would you say if Nick or Kareem said, I want to start carrying the ball around like that? It worked for Jim Brown. We were doing another one of these with Paul Warfield. He was running around with it like that. Sweetness you mentioned. Maybe there's something to it.
No, I don't think we want to get into that category. We want to cover it up. Right now, guys are doing so many more different techniques to try to script the ball away from the ball carriers now. So we definitely need to protect it.
No, you think about speed, you think about getting to the outside, and we've seen plenty of those clips, and we'll see another one here. But that play before, just a quick hitter right up the middle, he splits the defense, and it's over. It's before in the blink of an eye, gone.
Yes, just a little offset jab play, and he's coming to the strong side. And like you said, it's a quick hitter. They really didn't get a chance to react, and before you know it, Jim was past everybody.
When you have a running back, and you've got him here, look, we'll talk Nick Chubb, we see him run big runs all year, all the time. When you have that speed element at the position, what does that enable you to do as a running back coach? And obviously being involved with Coach Callahan and Stefanski and AVP and everybody and putting together these run games. When you have that kind of speed, what does that do for you?
The main thing we have to do, because defenses know that they have to try to cut you off. Sometimes with Nick, lateral quickness and all of that stuff, sometimes he don't give the play a chance. So the main thing we have to try to do is I have to try to do with Nick is make sure he understands the scheme, because the guys in front of him are busting their butt. They're working hard. And he has to realize just because a defense might get a little penetration, we have a body on a body, and he still has the speed to get it to the edge.
So here we're going back outside, and on this one, Coach, he's not just running over the other team, he's running over his own, look out, running over his own guy on his way to the end zone.
Jim only knew one way, and that's straight ahead to the end zone if he could. If he had to make cuts, he would. But if you're in the line of fire, you might get hit.
But how about we talk about his balance? And we're going to get into the balance section. You got to have pretty good balance to stiff arm your own lineman, keep your feet, not step on them, and still get into the end zone.
Jim was awesome. That's all we can say about him.
When you watch this tape, and you see the numbers, you know the dominance, you know the incredible career that he had. Obviously, a Hall of Famer. You put together the 100 greatest players to ever play. Always comes in at number one. But it's even stunning to me. I don't know if it is to you as well. Just see the absolute dominance where it almost looks like he's playing a different game and is of a different breed than everybody out there.
Well, there wasn't anything that Jim couldn't do. I mean, he can torque his body, as you saw on that run, in any way in order to slip someone or run past or run through. He could do whatever he needed to do in order to be able to get the job done. And of course, he was the best athlete on the field, bar none. He was the best athlete on the field. He had all the traits, speed, power, vision of a running back. He could do it all.
I don't know how you.
I mean, he's hopping on one leg sideways right here on this run. You know, that doesn't happen too often.
No, and at his size, one leg hop keeps his balance, and his ability to then, once he gets the feet in the ground, to accelerate back up to top speed and leave people in the dust. It really is. It's astonishing. I mean, it is astonishing. I don't think that there is any sport or activity that he wanted to put his mind to that he would not have been great at.
And it doesn't matter if he's at the fullback position at 5 yards or if he's back deeper. I mean, he could make the same cuts, which is outstanding.
It truly is just mind-bogglingly dominant film. We talked about the power, the speed. You're seeing the balance right there. And you talk about for a running back, those are the things you need to have. And then you need to have vision. Vision is an important part of it, but we'll stick a little bit more on the balance here with Jim Brown, because it's not only the ability to change your direction, but you got to keep your feet. And one of the things our guy, Nick Chubb, does so well is when he changes direction, same with Kareem, they maintain their speed. And that's a real big part of your balance and your strength.
Yeah, those guys are powerful. Both Kareem and Nick, they have good lateral movement. They have good vision for the most part. And being tough to tackle, defensive players know when they're playing those guys, it's got to be more like a gang tackle than a single individual, unless he just gets lucky.
When you played the game, Coach, what was the skill in those things that we talked about, this power, the speed, the balance, the vision? What would you hang your hat on? What did you say made Stump Mitchell as effective as he was?
I would say elusiveness as a runner. I could break tackles. I was also a pretty good route runner and receiver. But the power that these guys possess, I did not have that. Occasionally it would come through, but I wouldn't say that would be one of my greatest assets.
Stump, it sounds to me like you were ahead of your time. You need to be in this space-oriented NFL.
Hey, I would definitely would appreciate having the opportunity to run routes and also be in this system that we have here.
I'm sure you would have been great at it. So we've talked power, we've talked speed, balance, and then last part, we're going to talk a little bit about the vision of Jim Brown. And when you hear the word vision as it relates to a running back, what does that mean?
It means being able to adjust, see something opposite of where you're really going if they've cut something off, or it means running your track. If something gets in your way, then you make a decision to do something other than that. And Jim was perfect at that.
So one of the things that Jim Brown, we're going to see on this play, it's those kind of horizontal cuts. That's something I think Nick Chubb has made a living off of. And it's that vision to know, all right, I'm going to go run across the field here for a second to create an angle for me to get around you and get to the end zone, which Jim Brown does very easily right there.
Yes, but to start that, the greatest thing Jim did was stretch the play. He got the defense flowing. They all got out in front, and then he had the ability to cut back. And you know, once he square a guy up, you can forget it. He's going to outrun them or run them over.
And he certainly did that on this play. Again, it is striking to me. You know how good Jim Brown is, but just seeing it, it really is astonishing. And right there, just the vision, the patience to get outside and then accelerate to the pylon and get in the end zone.
Absolutely. He understood what his pullers were trying to do, trying to hook the guy. And if he was square on him, he knew he had the opportunity to stay outside on that particular run.
When you are a running backs coach and you are thus the advocate for your running backs, how hard is it to not say, let's just give them the ball every single play? And I imagine for whoever was in charge with the Browns at that time, you just wanted to say, Paul Brown, you wanted to say, just give the ball to Jim Brown every single play.
Yeah, totally different during Jim's era.
Sure.
You know, they relied highly on him. Even when I was playing, we didn't pass the ball a whole heck of a lot. You know, if you threw the ball in the 80s 20 times, 24 times, that was probably the average. That was probably the average. Now, with all the skill guys that we have on this team, when you take a look at our tight ends, when you take a look at our wide receivers, and you take a look at Coach Stefanski, who, first of all, he wants to know everything that player can do. If he can, regardless of what position he plays, if he can throw the ball at some point in time, we're going to have a pass in for him.
Yep.
So with the skill sets that we have on this team, if you're getting 20 carries a game as a back, you're lucky. I think we averaged probably about 35 carries, close to that last year, because we married our run game with our passing game. But we have a lot of skilled guys on this team, so we're just happy with the opportunities that we get. We have to be better at understanding the blocking scheme and give it an opportunity.
So what I'm hearing when you say that is we have a chance to even take a bigger step forward in what was a historically good run game for the Browns this year.
Oh, absolutely. We can get so much better. I mean, just understanding what the offensive linemen are trying to do, what the tight ends are trying to do, and have more patience. I mean, Nick averaged over 5 yards a carry,
yep.
But he's a much better player than that because we're a much better offensive unit than that.
What would you say to Jim Brown if he showed up in your running back room and you were the one in charge of helping him get to the next level?
Well, with Coach Callahan and Coach Peters, wow, Jim would love to play right now.
I'm sure he would. I know you would as well. This has been an incredible kind of a study of the greatest to ever play the game. Is Jim Brown, in your opinion, is he the greatest running back to ever play?
Oh, no question. I mean, even now with the skill set that he possessed back then, he will be one heck of a back right now. So he would be very successful. I see I think he have just a little more elusiveness than Derrick Henry, but they both possess power, speed, and I think it appears as if Jim was a better receiver. Derrick is okay, but Jim just seems like he can catch the ball from any angle.
Yeah, we saw some of that catching early on. Coach, this has been fun. 75 years of the Cleveland Browns, and you started much of this era with the Browns with Jim Brown, the greatest to ever play the game. You're winning championships. He goes straight to the Hall of Fame, obviously, and there you see exactly why when you watch this tape. We couldn't appreciate any more you breaking this down for us and kind of just bring in some of the technical aspects of what made someone who clearly looks like they're playing a video game in real life here on this old footage.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
All right, that was Stump Mitchell, and this has been the 75th anniversary edition of the Browns Breakdown, looking at the GOAT, Jim Brown.